Welcome to the Hypothalamic Amenorrhea podcast. I'm Danny Sheriff, your host, certified fertility awareness practitioner, functional nutrition counselor, and founder of the HA Society, and of course, an HA recovery coach who has walked where you currently are walking. This is the place to come if you care about getting your period regularly. This podcast aims to educate, inform, and keep you motivated on your period and HA recovery track. So let's dive in. But last thing, nothing on the show should be taken as medical advice, so please seek the advice of your physician. Hello, everyone. I am pumped to be talking to you right now about the Restore program. So my co-coach Ashley and I have been working since February on a new program, or our first program actually, for the HA Society. So in the past, the Society has been a membership support group. We've had tons of resources. We do coaching calls, but we've never brought in a structured program. So what we decided to do was take all of our experience working with hundreds of clients to basically create a structured program that is essentially the accumulation of all that we've learned from both working with those clients and with our members, and it's going to be amazing. Over 10 weeks, you're going to learn everything you need to know about how HA works, about how to approach nutrition, about how to approach exercise, how to approach lifestyle, and most importantly, all of it will have the underlying focus on mindset and making sure that you're approaching this in a way that is sustainable and that's actually going to help you recover forever. So come join us for our live 10-week program. We're going to meet every week. You're going to get education and action items, and most importantly, accountability. So Coach Ashley and I are going to be there to help you, as well as everyone else who joins the group. And so how this works is on August 17th, we will be going live with the program. We'll be opening the HA Society open to the public, and the program will start on the 17th. So it's actually going to be available for all members. So you basically just have to pay membership and you'll get to join the 10-week program. Make sure you're on the waitlist for it. Go to the hasociety.com/join. You'll be able to read on that website more about the actual breakdown of the weeks and what we're going to be covering. And you can join the waitlist there so that when it opens, you get notified. And we will see you on the day in the group. Cannot wait. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the HA podcast with me and Ashley, my co-host today. What's up, Ashley?
Hey. I'm actually pretty pumped. So I know I said I didn't have anything to do, but I just ordered my first Imperfect Foods box. And this is not an ad. I don't know, but I'm just really pumped about it because it wasn't available in my area. And now I'm like actually super pumped.
Oh, so it's where all like the imperfect fruits and vegetables that used to get thrown out, right?
Yes.
They deliver into like a produce box. Yeah, that's really cool. It's actually so disturbing to learn about like how they reject produce from farmers, and those farmers lose that money. It's like they do not. Yeah, it sucks.
And I am their perfect customer. Like, I don't care what it looks like. And the fact that you're going to deliver it to me, sold. Sign me up. Like,
yeah, that's so good. Well, yes. Speaking of sustainability, I got that Lomi thing, and so I've had it for a week. So Ashley had messaged me. She's like, I know you're into like sustainability and compost and stuff, so I just wanted to show you this thing that I saw on the internet. And I was like, seen it, ordered it already, like across it. They know who they're marketing to. But actually, it wasn't even that I saw ads for it. It's that I had it recommended like by people that I already know that have it. So like these guys, if they go public, like buy stock because people are loving it. So what it is this like this contraption that you put all of your food scraps in, and it does all like the vegetables. You can even put like compostable type packaging in, and you can put like soft, not really hard cooked, like soft bones, like fish bones or meat scraps too. So it does a lot of stuff. And it has these like 3 settings. This is also not sponsored. I just really like it. I want everyone to have one, I think. It has like 3
I
settings.
want one so bad.
Yeah. So there's these 3 settings. It's like, one is the one where you're able to put like the compostable packaging and stuff. One is like standard compost, and those ones, they're not really for like growing soil, like plant soil, but a lot of people have compost bins that like your trash people will pick up every week. But you can't always put all types of compost in them. Sometimes you can only put like, garden compost. Like if you're gardening, it's like leaves and stuff. So you can't just put your food in there. So it's still like not great, but this machine can turn it into garden type compost. So then you can put it into the compost bin. So it doesn't have to go into the landfill. So that's a benefit for a lot of people. And then there is a mode for making it into like plant and vegetable soil. So I've been running that one so far because I have lots of plants to propagate. So I'm excited to be like propagating my own plants and then like planting them in the soil that's made from the food scraps in my house. It feels very crunchy. And we make a lot of coffee too, of course. Like my husband drinks too much coffee. So we have tons of coffee grounds and like, it's amazing.
I want it because one, I need to redo all the soil and I'm like too lazy with my plants, but I'm like, if I could just add this, it's like for them, like, how am I not winning? And then a toddler, I don't know. I mean, I can't be the like first person to be like, Nuggie doesn't always eat what's on her plate. And then like, I am constantly like trying to like not to put out too much so that we're not throwing away. But toddlers are like wild, man. So sometimes she'll like just crush all this food. And then other times she's like, meh. And I'm like,
yeah,
what do you want me to do with all this now? And I'm constantly throwing out all this food. And each time I do, I'm like, like every meal gets me closer to wanting to buy this.
Dude, I am so triggered by people who throw out food in general. Like I think everyone knows these people, and there's probably people listening who are these people. And just so you know, if I came to your house and I saw this, I would be so triggered, where they have a ton of food in the house, like their fridge is full, their pantry is full, and they are not going to eat any of it. Like they're the people who go to a restaurant and they order a meal and they only eat half of it and they take the rest home, but then they don't eat the rest. Do you know what I mean? Like it just sits there and it throws out.
I love leftovers.
Like, I know, like, but eat them. Like this is what, you don't just throw them out. I'm so anal about it. Like I hate throwing anything out. My husband's mom, shout out to Denise. She is the worst. She eats like a rabbit, like these, just these tiny little nibbles of food, like a little critter, and then puts the rest in the fridge. And then like, instead of eating that later, I swear it just builds up. And when we went to her house one time and she's like, I ordered pizzas for dinner just because I didn't really have anything in the house. I go and open her fridge and it is full of food. I'm like, your fridge is full of food and you're ordering more food. Like it is so bothersome to me, and it is so American.
Maybe it really is because I went to your house and went to your fridge and I would have thought that it was super empty, but like it wasn't empty to you guys. I was like,
I know, no, legit though. Like I haven't got enough food in my fridge that it's probably not like energy efficient. You know how like you should have a certain amount of things in your fridge for it to be energy. It's like, we are impressive. Like I run that thing to the bone, and you would open my fridge for sure and be like,
I like appreciate it. I appreciate it because it's almost like every week is like that week where you're like, I'm not buying anything because we're going on vacation. So you're determined to use it all up. But that's like Danny's life. That's like a weekly for Danny.
Yeah. Well, I have that grocery delivery similar to you that happens every Tuesday. And so food comes in and I immediately have to be like, okay, well, what's not going to last? Because it's like organic local shit, right? So it's not going to last long. Like, okay, well, what can I make? And then strategically towards the end of the week, I'm making things that require less fresh produce. But yeah, we do it down to the wire and I love it. It's like a little game of Tetris. And sometimes we run out of food and I'm like, I have to get really creative at that point. And we're like,
I appreciate
but
it.
I figure it out every time.
Yeah, and maybe that's the way it's supposed to be. Anyways, yeah. So back, but like I saw on Amazon Prime Day that they had $70 off that thing. Girl, I almost bought it, but I was like, I'll wait for the review from Danny. It's
I
not
didn't know
going
you could
anywhere.
get it off Amazon. Yeah. So far, so good. Really cool, everybody. The one thing that we're yet to see that we will check out on is how much actual electricity does it take to run it. I still think it's worth it because landfills freak me out and we'll only get more energy efficient as we go. But I'm curious to see because the one to make your compost into soil within a day can take about up to 16 hours to complete the process. So it's like running all day.
So if you start it, can you not add anything to it?
Once it's going, you should let it go. So you want to like chuck food into it and it's odorless. So you can let it like build up until it's full.
Okay.
Yeah, it has like a whole bunch of stuff going on with like charcoal to make sure that you can't smell anything. So you just run it when it's full. But once it's full, you start it and it can take between 5 and 16 hours depending on the mode that you use. So I am just curious like what my energy bill is going to look like.
Yeah. But I think
and that matters for other countries because in the States, electricity is really cheap. But in other countries, that's not the case.
Yeah. Well, that was a solid tangent for both of us. Okay.
Love it. Okay. Guys, questions. So I actually had sent an email out to my amazing email list and was like, y'all, I'm trying to get my first 1,000 YouTube subscribers. Yes. I just like, it's this thing. I started doing YouTube like, I don't know, not all that long ago, honestly. And chipping away did that. And so I said, hey guys, I literally need like 10 more subscribers to get to 1,000. If you subscribe, Ashley and I will answer your question. Yes. But then we don't have time for everyone's questions. So we'll try and chuck through them in future episodes. But I have 2 that I'm going to do. One I received through DMs, one I received through email. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm so ready.
Olive, peach emoji, yoga emoji, says or asks, hi, I was hoping you could give me some support. I'm wondering about how much we should set as a maximum for walking in HA recovery. I've gone through the process of struggling with stopping formal exercising. Stopping is in quotations, but really I have just been swapping in quotations exercise for at least 10,000 steps and 30 minutes of Pilates or intermediate yoga every other day. I was wondering what maximum amount of walking you would recommend in this situation, especially if I change the yoga to be restorative and do it every other day and cut out the Pilates. Thank you so much. I'm really struggling with this and finding it so hard to find guidance on what is too much. Love everything you do. Okay. Are you clear on that question?
So clear. I'm like trying not to be chomping at the bits because this is like loaded. So this brings up a lot of things. I actually had a client question who was like, I feel lightly triggered because I saw someone in the HA space say that if you work out, then you can't possibly like recover. That was like the gist. Like that was, I'm sure that there's like a version of that happened. And then there's the message that was like internalized and perceived. And this was the outcome, right? And I feel like this question is kind of similar to that person as well as of, yes, there's going to be like major modifications and that's going to be super individual to everybody. But the biggest thing that I want to get across to people is that not only do you have to eat enough for recovery, but then you have to eat enough to make up whatever deficit comes from walking, working out, whatever. Like you have to be willing to not only eat enough for recovery, which is hard enough as is for some people, but then you have to like be very aware that you have to go the extra 2 miles to then eat to like close that gap on whatever deficit was created through movement. Mm-hmm. And so what I hear from this question is like, I'm tweaking this. So can I keep these 10,000 steps if I don't do yoga, but I do restorative yoga? So it's like, how can I get the formula down to where I can keep some type of movement, but it's really not about the formula. It's all about, are you willing to eat more and enough, right? I do recognize that there's a stress piece, there's a working out piece. And so there might be some people who differ. However, we've seen plenty of people who needed to stop exercise entirely because they were just not going to eat above and beyond. And then I've seen someone who has kept their exercise, but then started eating less on rest days. And then now we've seen her chart go completely backwards. Right. And so it's like one of those things of, it's like, you still have to eat for recovery, which is a natural surplus. And then you have to eat in a bigger surplus because of working out. And so my question to this person is, are you willing to do that? And that's really what then allows us to adjust and tweak what is too much like walking for you and what is too much yoga or restorative yoga or Pilates for you, right? Because it's all kind of based on what are you willing to eat.
Yeah. You are making it more challenging for yourself, right? You're adding more factors in that you need to eat in order to compensate for. So it's like, yeah, well, why are you swapping the exercise for walking? What is walking bringing you? First
what
and
is
foremost,
10K steps bringing you? Like, what does that mean to you?
And this is a huge one that, and like I have an episode that I did with Elise and Abby a while ago where we talk about the 10K steps. It's like it's like so arbitrary, but it's a huge deal. Like I don't know, I have multiple clients who are like, I just cannot stop tracking steps. It's a big thing. If you're tracking steps, it's weird.
Well, I have one in like general who would, I had one who would do like
30,000.
Yeah, per day. Like just like,
it's common.
Yeah. So it's not, so that's why I actually love this question, is that like, this isn't crazy because we are like, well, I'm not working out or I'm not doing CrossFit, I'm not doing this, but I'm walking 5+ miles per day.
Yeah. And I get it. Like I did it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You and I both did it.
Yeah. 100%. I see it. Dude, I took these epic treks like every day. I should like show y'all the route that I took. It's wild. And to the point where I was so exhausted that I just was like, I can't wait to be home. Like I walked myself to a state of being desperate to get home. Oh my gosh. I like, it's so interesting to me in hindsight. So I get where this is coming from. And it's like, this is so gentle compared to where I came from, right?
Yes.
But it's really not. It's pretty crazy.
So I think about all the like lies that it took for us to get here. But like, we are meant to move. We're not supposed to be sedentary. I agree. Totally agree. Right. But I don't think cavemen had a watch tracking their steps and then was doing circles within their cave to get their like 10K steps. And Danny and I joke about this because we did it. So like, we're legit making fun of our past selves, and we're not even making fun. Like, we just know what great lengths people will go to hit 10K.
Yeah. Like and we all know people too, not in the HA space who are like hitting their steps, and they're just like, you hear it, and you, from this perspective now, you see it for what it is, which is like this funny thing that we've adopted as a society because we all just sit too much, and like that's a valid.
Yeah.
But it's like, well, I'm either sitting too much or I'm getting 10K steps, and there's nothing in between. And my husband does it too. I'm just like, ugh. And he's on a walk and his phone will be like, are you on a walk? And he has to be like, boop, yes, please start tracking my walk as an exercise. Like, I think Apple Watches are make our jobs as coaches challenging sometimes.
Well, first off, I should never be getting a text message to my wrist. Like, absolutely not. I mean, but then like, you and I work online all day and getting things from every different, like the last thing I need is my wrist.
No more. So right now, as we speak, there are 3 screens in front of me and my phone is not in the room. Oh, there's 4. There's an iPad here. There's 4 screens.
Yeah.
I don't need any more. Anyway, we digress. Walking 10, like what the question is, what is the maximum amount, right? And Ashley's answer is, well, as long as you're willing to eat to compensate, shouldn't be a problem. But the problem is actually that you're probably not, right? And we know that you're probably not because the purpose for walking is generally to mitigate weight gain, try and make sure that although I'm eating more, hopefully, here's what you're hoping when you walk a whole ton, but you're in recovery. You are hoping that your brain will work in a vacuum and say, hey, tons of food is coming in and that's all we needed. And the rest wasn't necessary. Weight gain's not necessary. Changing your behavior around exercise isn't necessary. It was just the food. You're hoping that it's just the food. But it is not. What?
Oh, yeah. No, I was trying to look up a question and like there was like a sound. I was like, oh,
no, nothing happened. No, Zoom is on top of it now, just like it knows. You are just hoping that that's just not a piece, right? And that your body is feeling rested and taken care of enough. And there's probably a couple people out there where that's the case, no doubt, because everyone is a little different. But the vast, vast majority, if you're asking this question, it's been a substantial amount of time and you've been doing this behavior and nothing has changed. You have your answer and you need to eat 1 metric shit ton of food to be able to walk that much. And so it's like, okay, well, what is more food, right? Like, well, okay, I'll eat more. What do I need to eat? Probably a lot. And I am, a lot of us are like, well, when I like reference the guide in no period now, what it says like for my height and activity level, I need to eat this much. And that is a great starting point, right? But, that list is for people, right? So 2,500 comes up a lot. Most the average height woman, etc. 2,500 calories. That is for someone not doing any excessive walking and exercise. Okay. So now
that's someone existing.
That's
so if you're doing anything more than existing, we have to adjust. First off, you're on
coming up out of a deficit.
Yeah. You're on fire today. Super sassy and I'm enjoying it. 2 things that what you said like made me think about we originally got into walking in order to control our body and our body composition and our weight, right? So in this, meaning that if you're going to continue walking in HA recovery, you have to absolutely like go the complete opposite direction by being willing to eat enough to where walking doesn't change your body composition and or your weight, right? Which really means that are you truly walking for the health purposes that we claim that we are? Because we don't want to be sedentary, because being sedentary has nothing to do with weight. It just means that you're choosing not to be sedentary and you're going to be walking and moving and you're doing it for the health benefits. And so this is where we get really clear on people's actual motive is that they'll be like, I'm walking 10K steps and that's just kind of what it is. And I don't think it's really a problem. And I'm like, okay, fine. Well, then just eat enough to close that gap. And then you still have eating enough to close the gap doesn't change the health benefits of walking and moving during the day. Right. And that's the sticking point.
Oh yeah. Like a lot of, but I just need to be able to get outside. Yeah. 100%. Go sit in the grass. Read a book.
Go outside, bring a snack.
Or like I need to walk my dog, right? You and I both have dogs. Valid point. Yes. I need to walk my dog. Can you go to the dog park and just like let the dog sniff? Can you go to the park and it has to be on the leash? Okay. Go to the park, right? And just like let it sniff every tree. Like you don't have to like be on a trail, be on a route in order for your dog to go outside and get the stimulation that they need. Fun fact about dogs, right? Actually, this comes up so often that it's actually worth talking about.
Yes, it is.
I know you need to walk your dog. we are there. Like, fun fact about dogs, there is a similar benefit for them with just the mental stimulation of like learning tricks and behaviors and being outside, right? You don't always have to walk your dog to exercise your dog.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And think about like your dog would be just as fine as if you stood and threw the tennis ball.
Oh yeah, fetch.
Like, and so that's where I'm like, guys, this rabbit hole is only going to lead to like us realizing that this has nothing to do with your dog. This has nothing to do with health benefits.
Your dog is a vessel for your desire to take 10,000 steps.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good one because I do get that a lot.
Yeah. No, I know we did it too.
It's Fido's fault.
Yeah, it's like, guys, I have a German Shepherd and they need a ton of exercise or they get mood disorders. I've heard it all. I've heard it all. It's all valid, but it's all workaroundable, right? If you want something enough, you'll find a way. Get a dog walker, have your partner do the walking if you feel like that's necessary.
Play fetch.
You know, there's a thing, or like, and just like humans, right? You can get away without them walking every single day, right? So it's like, I just want us to look at what we're telling ourselves and say, like, is there another way if this is something that I really, really want? So the answer here is, I don't know, I feel like did we answer all the questions?
Yeah.
Within this?
Well, I think I answered it in the beginning of it all depends on what are you willing to eat? Like how much are you willing to eat?
Yeah.
In order, you know what I mean? Because if like you're not willing to eat above what's needed to just recover, then yeah, I'd cut out a good amount of portion of that. But if you're willing to really eat before and after walking, that's another thing that people are like, but it's just walking. But if you're not willing to eat before and after and actually eat something more than a rice cake, then like then like yes, I do think that you should cut your steps in half. So maybe 5K.
Yeah. And if you are doing what I was doing, where I was walking myself to the point where I was so exhausted that I couldn't wait to be home, and I genuinely felt like I had done an epic workout at the end of my walk, that is too much walking. That's probably just going to stop the period. That's a stress at that point. You're stressed out.
And that's not saying that the human body can't handle it. It's that your body has officially turned off the HPO axis.
Yeah, well, like you're in recovery.
Yeah. This is a body that's already been pushed past its limits.
Yeah.
So it's not the same thing.
Yeah. You cannot go from deficit to maintenance and think that that's enough, right? You have to go from deficit to surplus to maintenance. It's a process. And we all want to skip that surplus piece. Especially when we've been in it for a while and it feels very uncomfortable to be in it for a while. And I get that, but that's right where when the novelty wears off, that's where consistency is really going to start paying off. Okay. Question number 2, Chrissy. Very straightforward question. You ready?
Ooh, yes.
Is alcohol bad in period recovery?
Yeah, I actually don't think so. I mean, but then again, it depends on what is your relationship with alcohol. Like, I think it's one of those things of, have you not allowed yourself to go to the wineries with your friends and eat the meats and cheese and enjoy a glass or two or a flight or two before? I think adding that back in, especially if that's something that you enjoy doing, is so beneficial socially, mentally, emotionally. The freedom to snack on like a meat and cheese board with a beautiful glass of wine in the sun with friends. I actually don't know what could be healthier at that moment. Hear me, I didn't say alcohol itself was like the healthiest thing, but the combination of what that brings is next level. Now, if you're like doing massive shots, staying up late, eating like, I don't know, like vending machine food and like that's a completely different vibe, right? So again,
Yeah.
even how people use alcohol is like completely different.
Yeah. My intuition tells me most people curious in the answer to this question are like wondering if the glass of wine they're having at night or on the weekend with their friends is impacting their recovery in some way. That's how I'm reading it. So to your original answer, like, yeah, that's great. How much time do you have? Because we're about to go over.
Oh, I have time. I just have a call at 11, so I'm good.
Okay, same. So just yesterday, I was having a debate with my husband that's like rather similar. And so I have shared on the show maybe one other time or something that, so my husband has a type of leukemia, chronic leukemia. So he's fine, everyone. It's like dormant in a way. It's there. He has myelofibrosis, and he's fully functional. Like he's not in any kind of treatment, and he just gets checked up on all the time to see, like, you know, every 4 months we just go through this like extremely anxiety inducing moment where he has blood work and we see like, has it activated? Right. But never has. And he on his journey has made a ton of lifestyle changes. He's a totally different person. When I met this guy, he was vaping. So he had just like he used to smoke. And by the time I met him, he was down to vaping. By the time I had like moved over here and married, he had quit. But I knew that was his past. He is a naturally very, very lean. And he used to, with the smoking and like would just drink coffee in the morning, he would just eat dinner at night. Right. So like,
and when he like eat out like all the time, like
he would only eat out his whole childhood.
Only ate out. Okay.
Yeah. 100% Taco Bell or pizza. And one meal a night by the time he was in adulthood, or one meal a day. So like crazy, just not setting his body up for a success in any direction. So now like fully, totally different. You would never expect, like looks after himself, works out, healthy social life, doesn't drink alcohol at all. And eats, you know, like honestly, he's a little too much on the clean eating side of things. But, you know, his perspective here is that like he has had a life or death, like wake up call. So I have a lot of compassion for it. And he's gone down the rabbit hole of like the best products for your skin and your cleaning products, blah, blah. If you go to the society recommendations page and you look at like all of our product recommendations for like non-toxic, non-xenoestrogen, et cetera stuff, they've all been thoroughly researched by Jacob Davis, not by me. So they're 10 out of 10 like cancer patient recommendations at this point. So
yeah,
go for it. Anyway, we were in a debate that I just wanted you to know like where he's coming from with this debate. So we're in it, and he and I are talking about like our work with clients and just everyone in our community, and how like we do promote enjoying a piece of cake, enjoying a glass of alcohol. And he like can't understand it, right? He's just like, but like, why is there a benefit? And I'm like, oh, well, you know, like the social experience, like the way that it connects us as people. And also, right, a lot of people in our community are coming from a fear of those things, right? So it's like that, and you know, we need to heal our relationship with those things because we're in a society where those things are present. Yada, yada, yada. And he's just like, yeah, but like, it just shouldn't even exist anyway. He's in the camp of like, none of these things should even exist in the world, right? So it's like, so why would you even want a healthy relationship with it? Like, he just can't relate.
Well, I think, yeah. And so I think the reason why he can't relate, and obviously I'm not speaking for him, is that because I feel like, you know, like the barrel, like the shotgun barrel has been loaded where none of ours, to our knowledge, is, right? And so it's like, I think for him, it may possibly feel like I'm already in a preloaded situation. So there's no point of adding any fuel or possible fuel to the fire. You know what I mean? What's interesting is that these decisions are made out of a valid fear, right? You know what I mean? And think about the eating disordered type of behavior that gets us into HA society also starts from a fear, and has led us into a different situation to where for some women, I mean, think about the impact of not having estrogen your entire adulthood or 10 years of it. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I feel like there's no way as a society or as a research community that we know the impact of not having estrogen and progesterone, throughout how many years that we've had HA, right? I mean, it does everything from gut to brain to mood, you know what I mean? And so it's kind of one of those things to where I think for him, the fear keeps him because he has a different situation, and to where this fear puts us into a situation where we're without hormones, which is actually just as dangerous when it comes to.
The reality is, as a result of all he's been through, he is singing, and we have determined, and he has talked to his therapist about this. We are seeing him develop some new eating disorder type behaviors because he has a fear of them.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is, yeah.
And that's like just real life.
Yeah, it totally is like almost like real life, because what's interesting, I think, from both of these perspectives is that our eating disorder, whether it's body composition so that we can gain approval and love, which is just as important as like life, right? Like, let's be real.
What's the point of life if you don't have love?
Right. And for his, it's also a fear, but both of them is this false sense of control that through an eating disorder that we get to feel, or eating or disordered eating habits, eating disorder tendencies, however we want to name this spectrum. What it offers us is a false sense of control. And so I think the one that he's operating in is, I can control whether I get cancer or not, or whether it gets activated or not. And there is some truth to it, but at the end of the day, you actually can't stop that gene from turning on.
Yeah. There's like very 100%. Yeah. Like 100% can you impact your overall health by like cleaning up your environment? Totally.
Yeah.
Is an occasional glass of wine going to have an intense impact? No. Is drinking alcohol like technically in a way like poisoning your liver? Sure, on a technical sense. Yes, it is more work for your body to process it, but we're not worried about it on a day-to-day basis, because a big element of your recovery is having a good time, having fun, de-stress.
And speaking of that, it's like, we can get, you know what, and I think I'm going to record an episode of this, is like, are you hyper focused on something, and is that hurting your recovery? Because think about a lot, one thing that's actually coming up for our community is when people are getting blood work, they're getting elevated inflammation, enzymes, liver. I remember like my naturopath thought was like, do you drink? I feel like your liver is inflamed, like cirrhosis. I'm like, lady, I do not have cirrhosis of the liver, but I had massive inflammation markers for a long time during HA, and now I don't. So again, like, we don't even know all like the different systems that start to shut down and in what order. So the biggest thing isn't your liver and a glass of wine. The biggest thing is, are you eating enough? Because if you're eating enough, one glass of wine is not an issue. If you're chronically dieting and don't have your cycle, and you don't have estrogen and progesterone and all the protective mechanisms of it, and then you want to throw some like alcohol on it, probably not the best, but that's not the biggest and baddest alligator to the boat.
Yeah. Like, I wouldn't say, oh my God, it's going to set you back.
No. In fact, I think if you wind up eating more because you are enjoying yourself and a glass of wine, it's probably helpful.
Yeah. And then my last, like the best probably answer for this question is, please scroll down to episode 42 of the Hypothalamic Amenorrhea Recovery, the effects of alcohol in HA recovery with Holly Dunn. We have a whole episode on it. We could answer this question. We also just have a whole episode on it. So Holly actually walks us through what is physically happening in your body which may be more so the answer you're looking for. what's physically happening in your body when you consume alcohol, and as a result, how could it have like an effect on your reproductive system. So yeah,
Joy
episode
Hall.
42.
Yeah, she is amazing.
I saw that you booked we have a AJ Society event with her coming up.
Yes, Bone Health.
Bone
I'm excited to pick her brain about that. Just more so because I'm actually even interested of, is there any actual long-term studies of women who've recovered from HA and what are their bones look like after that? Because I feel like, has anyone follow? Yes, I think that
are they all just short-term studies at the moment?
Yeah, but just more of like, yes, like you follow them out of an eating disorder, but being weight restored from like the grave, as like we like to call it, and having your cycle is two different like markers of health.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so there's tons on past, like eating disorders, but is there some that is just focused on those who have regained their cycle? You know what I mean? Because you can like graduate from like an eating disorder clinic, therapy, help, whatever, and still not have your cycle. So I think it's just completely two different groups of women.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
that'll be interesting. So I saw that event is happening on August 11th, people. So by the time this episode comes out, it will have already happened, and the replay will be posted in the resources section and on the private podcast playlist. So today, Restore launches.
Ooh.
Boom. As you can tell, we're obviously recording this in the future. Sorry, in the past, and Ashley's like showing up. So today is August 17th. So Restore is open, and Restore is our 10-week live structured program taking you through recovery. So basically, you join the HA Society. So the HA Society is open for 3 days as of today. And when you join, you can go in and find the Restore program, as well as, all the other resources like the Bone Health event with Holly Dunn. Go find that, and we'll be kicking off this week. So the program goes through nutrition, exercise, mindset, all the things that you need to do. We walk you through it week by week to help you implement, feel confident with it, and see it through to the end.
Yeah. And we have weekly homework assignments, if you will, or challenges. There's an opportunity to get individual feedback. We're going to be going through. So again, it's not just like eat more food, right? But really diving into, why do we have food fears? Why do we have rigid routines? And really exposing those and then working on them. So if you are looking for a place to do the work, this is it. Even if you just want to kind of dip your toes in and just kind of see what the whole thing is, just know that the results are going to come from doing the work. And so we can only lead you and guide you. But just knowing the information isn't going to heal you. So
you're going to want to take action on all of the action items, like do the homework. And like Ashley said, there's an opportunity for individual help. Like as a member of the society, you have contact with us at any point, right? You can DM us, message us. So we're actually there meeting with you live every week, but then you can reach out anytime. We'll do food reviews too. So you'll do a food log, and we'll literally look at it with you, and you'll be able to watch a number of other people's reviews as well. So you can kind of see other people and like what's working for them, what's maybe holding them back. It just helps to provide context, get the full picture. And I'll say too, right, this is just included with society membership, which is like $25 a month.
Yeah.
This is like, holy cow. This is the first
10-week program for $25.
I know. Like, and people, like business people hate me, but we're launching it as the beta program. It is included with the membership of the HA Society. It is month to month. It is $25. Like, for the love of all things that are good.
Yeah.
Just do this with us. Like, if you're struggling in any way, at any level of your recovery, you've just started and you're like, oh, I want to see how I go by myself for a little bit. Heard that a lot. Okay. Like, this is just, it's not invasive.
Right.
You're not going to get, I don't know, preached at, anything like that. This is a tool to help you. If you like, I consider if you are DIYing your recovery, which we're all about, that's why we do all this free content. If you're DIYing your recovery, it's actually the perfect place for you to do so. And if you're someone who thinks you need a lot more help and structure, this is also the perfect place to do so. It's
like launch.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that you like said that perfectly, because again, at the end of the day, like we're going to give you the tools, the step-by-step process. And the thing is that it may not be the way that you would have approached it. And that's the point, is like, oh, because like you can't see your own blind spots. And sometimes you don't want to talk and or address the areas that we want to remain hidden. And so what this program does is that like it's a show up each week, allow yourself to like be part of the program, be part of a group of people going through it, interact to the level that you feel comfortable. But like you walk away with so much value.
Yeah. Love it. So
excited.
The hasociety.com/join kicks off today. Don't be late. And again, if you can't make any of the live calls, we have the replays. Like, you'll get all the goodness. If you just want to participate, like in the darkness, you can also do that, right? There's no pressure. It's totally up to you. But yeah, we got you back for the next 10 weeks.
Excited. Join us.
All right, everyone, have a really great day, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Look, my day job as a firefighter is tough, but my night job as a social media manager, my Persian cat Jinxie, that's intense. It's 8 p.m. I've finally gotten home from another 24-hour shift, and I just want to kick back with a cold one, but old Jinxie knocks my beer right off the counter and gives me that look that says, no drinking on the clock. But Heineken 0.0 keeps us both happy. Zero alcohol, but just as refreshing. So I get my drink, and I can still work on Jinxie's new line of merch.
Heineken 0.0, 0.0% alcohol. Now you can. Must be 21 plus to purchase. Enjoy responsibly.
Hi, welcome to your neighborhood pharmacy.
Hi, I've got a prescription for diabetes test strips. How much is the copay?
Well, it depends on your type of commercial insurance and factoring in your yearly spend, subtracting the deductibles, also depending on your monthly allowance.
Why can't there be a better option?
Or you could try Contour Next test strips. A 35 count's only $19.99 over the counter and proven to be highly accurate. Go to contournext.com/radio to see if over-the-counter strips are a more affordable option for you.
I think I'll try Contour Next.
Thank you so much for listening today, guys. Please subscribe to the podcast, and if you could head to iTunes specifically and leave a rating or review, that would help so much, because it makes it easier for other people with HA who are Googling around to find the podcast really easily. So if you do that, you're doing a service to all of the women.